Hello fellow old schoolers. It's Friday and we're going to watch I think it's the fourth game of the Swiss on the random camera of this tournament at table 22. And I don't know what the odds are, they're very low, but the two players we're going to see here, I've actually faced them myself in the previous rounds here. And with a tournament with so many players, it's really odd that they get to meet here on camera, but it is the Monogreen Stompy coming up against the first version of the Deadguy Ale that I faced in round 1 of the Swiss. So we've already watched their decks, but I'll post them at the end of the video so we can look them over again. So it is a bit of a classical matchup, I feel. Green versus a primarily black deck. So let's get ready. Round number 1. It's Jesper on his beautiful all beta monogreen Stompy deck here versus another very beautiful Deadguy Ale, which means it's black-white with a splash of blue for power and mostly black. Underground C, Deadguy Ale on the play, and we have Monogreen coming up with a Scavenger Folk here. He can blow that up, sacrifice it to destroy an artifact. I will expect the Monogreen deck to be the aggressor here. He'll likely try to get some damage in as quickly as possible, and then try to finish the game with a couple of Giant Growths and a Berserk if he can manage. Personally, I like to play with Hurricanes in a Monogreen setup just to burn the other guy out at the end. But we've seen the deck before. I'm Jesper and he's gone another route than Hurricanes. Okay, coming over for 1 point of damage here. Oh, 2 points of damage. He has a Pendelhaven he just dropped there. And another Scavenger Folk, so putting on the pressure early. Now it is little pokes here, but they all add up. Ooh, that's a Spectre. He'll likely try, he won't block with it because the Pendelhaven will kill the Spectre, but he'll try to get in with the with it fly over the other guys, because you can pick cards from the other guy's hand. That's very important. Yeah, he can't block now because whatever he blocks will get pumped by the Pendelhaven and become a 2/3 creature. So just takes it on the chin here. Okay, it doesn't get pumped. Likely Monogreen will try to play something. Okay, yeah, Ice Storming him out of white mana here. That makes perfect sense. Just to try to cut him off his removal. There's another Plains though. Now he'll likely try to attack with the Spectre just to try to reduce the other guys. Yeah, take the wind out of his sails, so to speak. Getting a crumble here. Okay, could be worse for Monogreen. Ooh, but there's another Spectre. Yeah, so I mean, the Cardinal will be real here. Losing 2 cards a turn, he really needs to get some damage in here. If only Monogreen had Hurricanes here, I think they're very important in this matchup. But the Monogreen, ooh, Giant Growth and a Pendelhaven. So that's 5 points of damage here. Putting him down to 6 points of life. That's what I mean. Monogreen can really put the hurt in here. Deadguy Ale reeling. Now, can he even attack here? Does he dare to? Okay, sinkholing the Mace of Ith. So he's going the offensive route still, not sinkholing the Pendelhaven here. So trying just to empty the other guy's hand here. Getting in for 4, taking another Pendelhaven. It's a good thing that he didn't crack the Pendelhaven then. I'll just put down another. But if he doesn't have a Swords to Plowshares, he'll be brutalized here. Okay, but there's one. Swords to Plowsharing, the pumped Scavenger Folk. I'm really surprised Monogreen doesn't get any more creatures out. It's really unlucky here. There's so many creatures in a Monogreen deck. Passing the turn here. 2 Spectres coming over again. Another crumble. I mean, not the worst losses here, but Monogreen is taking damage as well from those Hypnotic Spectres, that's for sure. Pumping it. Okay, another Swords to Plowshares. Should be out of the graveyard though. At least it provides Monogreen some much needed life here. But, oh, getting this, yeah, the Ice Storm. I think perhaps he should have Ice Stormed the Plains instead of pumping the Scavenger Folk, but he's likely going for the kill here. I mean, the other guy's down to 6 points of life, so it doesn't take a lot to kill him. There's an Elf. I mean, a Giant Growth next turn. Could be nice. Or a Berserk. Okay, getting in for 4 again. And a blocking factory here. Attacking with the... Okay, just attacking with the elf. And the factory gets in the way. He couldn't tap the factory right there. But it doesn't matter. Monogreen forfeits the game. But he didn't have to use his giant growth because the factory had summoning sickness. It's completely besides the point, because that giant growth would have been lost next turn to the Spectres. So yeah, Deadguy Ale takes the first one. So this is a very important sideboard show they're gonna have here. I wonder what they'll bring in. Deadguy Ale could take in some sushis just to get even more blockers here. Probably take out his Underworld Dreams, unless he's fearing Sylvan Library. And if Monogreen knows this, yeah, he might. I don't know what he'll take. Hurricanes, hopefully, but as far as I remember, Jesper has gone another route. He's likely taking in some Winter Blasts. They can tap creatures, and will do 2 points of damage to flyers, so that's another way to handle those Hypnotic Spectres. And Whirling Dervishes, obviously. I think Monogreen will use them as well. They're great in this matchup. Soaring coming out. Ooh, and a Crumble. Crumpling the Soaring. Very important move by Monogreen here. Another Scavenger Folk. But where are his Agodian Pixies and his Elvis Archers? I mean, it seems like he lacks a little bit of that oomph. Demonic Tutor. Out of Deadguy Ale. Now, it doesn't have a blue mana, so it is not an Ancestral Recall, unless he has an Underground Sea in hand. Time will tell what he gets here. Okay. Another land drop from Monogreen. So he's up to 3 mana, that's all he needs. Whirling Dervish coming down. Very nice. Now Scavenger Folk poking in. 14 points of life left, it seems, on Deadguy Ale. Is that true though? Probably 19 actually. Okay, he got a blue mana. He probably had that in hand, so... No, I thought it was an Ancestral Recall. We'd see now. What will he get out here? With a Dark Ritual. Ooh, he took a Mind Twist. Yeah, so that's how you play this matchup. I mean, if you can just get the other guy's hand away, Monogreen has such a hard time. Yeah, Giant Growth, Factory, and Ice Storm. Monogreen has no draw engine usually, unless it plays with the Sylvan Libraries. So if you get rid of his opening hand, he'll try to kill you with his opening hand. If it's gone, he's lost most of his steam. But he has a Whirling Dervish out. It'll grow when he gets in. He gets pumped here till the guy is tapped out. So the Whirling Dervish does 2 points. That's 3 points of damage all in all, and the Whirling Dervish grows into a 2/2 here. Excellent sideboard option against a black deck like this. Though there is that factory, but the moment Deadguy Ale activates his factory to block the Whirling Dervish, I think the Scavenger Folk will just blow that factory away. There's a nice combination Monogreen has going here. Ooh, Ancestral Recall. Such strong cards from Deadguy Ale here. Planes coming down. That's a lot of card advantage at this point. Though he did use a Dark Ritual to cast his Mind Twist, so he did lose a lot of cards himself. He actually lost 2 cards only to get 3 cards. But Deadguy Ale can survive this because he has a draw engine. Okay. Spirit Linking. Yeah, he likely sideboarded those in. It's just the same trick I did against Monogreen. Just to try to, I guess, trying to buy time here by holding the critters off his back for a bit. Until he can get his larger creatures out. So the question is what to do here. I think Monogreen should attack with his Whirling Dervish anyway, just to let it grow. Because at some point he can just Giant Growth and Berserk the other guy out, and the Spirit Link won't take effect. He can also use the Whirling Dervish as a potent blocker if it grows. Okay, activating the factory. He should attack with that as well, I think, because he can blow the factory up with the Scavenger Folk. Yeah, he does exactly that, keeping the Scavenger Folk back. If the other guy activates his factory to block now, the Scavenger Folk will destroy the factory before block. Oh, but there's a disenchant on the factory here. Yeah. Is there an avoid fate or something from green? No. Okay, so the Whirling Dervish grows. It does 2 points of damage, but he heals that amount of life up from the Spirit Link. And there's still a lot of cards in the hand of Deadguy Ale here. If he gets a 5th mana drop, he can get down... Okay. He can get down a Singular Vampire, I was about to say. He's really considering it. Only has 4 mana, so that's due some Jin territory. Okay, that's a 5th mana. That's the Vampire. I think that's the correct play. The other guy has no cards in hand, so if you block with the Vampire, it'll grow into a 5/5, and the other guy can't keep back with his Whirling Dervish to block it. Even though it has protection from black, it doesn't fly, so can't do anything. But he can attack with it again, I suppose, so it grows again. And if Deadguy L tries to attack with the factory, the Scavenger Folk will blow it up. Singular Vampire coming in for 4 points of damage here. That is the problem with green. It really lacks air defense against the Singular Vampire. Another reason for a Hurricane, I think. Or Maces of Ith, if you have them. Okay, Whirling Dervish into a 5/5. A huge Whirling Dervish at this point. But there's another Singular Vampire. Yeah. Deadguy L just bought enough time with that Spirit Link to survive. Whirling Dervish comes in again, becomes a 6/6, but here 8 points of damage from the Singular Vampires. Just a brutal punch in here. Green has forgotten to tap his Whirling Dervish, but it doesn't really matter. The Scavenger Folk is defensive enough against that factory. Taking it on the chin here. Why doesn't he have a Mace of Ith? Is he waiting for something? That's weird. There's something I'm missing here. Passing the turn right back. Okay. There's a big punch in here from 2 Singular Vampires. I hope green remembers that he has a Mace of Ith. There's a Script Sprite. You can pump that with the Pendelhaven, but it'll only become a 2/3. And the scary part about those vampires, as said, if they get a bite out of a creature and survive, they will grow. Whirling Dervish gets in, becomes a 7/7 Whirling Dervish. I think that's the play out of green here. He's trying to get in some Giant Growth and Berserks and just punch the other guy out in one attack with that Whirling Dervish. Because he'll die before the Spirit Link takes effect. Okay, he remembers the mace here. I think it was a mistake in the previous round, or there's something I've missed. Okay, but he maces one of the vampires, and one gets in. There's a Sushi. I don't know if he plays with the main deck or if he sideboarded them in. I think he's likely sideboarded them in. It actually makes it so that the Whirling Dervish should probably stay back now. Because... or maybe not. I mean... yeah. Depending on what green has in hand. But you could elect to keep back with the Whirling Dervish now. It is a 7/7 now. So we're up there with a single Berserk. Will do so much damage that it's not even... okay, Singular Vampire coming over. Macing one. Blocking the other with a Script Sprite. Now the Vampire should get a counter. Yeah, it's a rare sight, this. Vampire becomes a 5/5. Another Sushi. Overwhelming creatures here. So Deadguy has survived long enough for its bigger creatures to get in. Yeah, that's a correct play here. Blowing up one of the Sushis. It's too much at this point. So what do we have as a single elf? I mean, imagine if we had a Hurricane a bit earlier in this game. That's a 5/5 and a 4/4 vampire. So... okay, macing the 5... I think I would have done it the other way around. I would have blocked the bigger vampire. Unless he has Hurricanes and can Hurricane them out. I'd rather have one vampire be big, because you can still mace that. Now he has two 5/5s instead of one that's a 6/6 and one 4/4. Jusumjin coming down here. It looks like the end for Monogreen. I mean, he can block the Jusumjin with his Whirling Dervish all day if he wants to, but what about that Sushi then? Ooh, City in a Bottle though. Okay. Yeah, but it doesn't really touch the mana base of Deadguy ill. I'm not even sure he plays with Cities of Brass. That's Mace of Ith out of Deadguy ill, obviously. So the defenses are in place. It's those flyers that's the problem. Here they come, two 5/5 vampires. You can only mace one. So I suppose that's it, right? 4 damage. Oh, but he crumbles his own City in a Bottle. That gains him 2 points of life. Another Sushi though. So yeah, brilliant play. There's finally an Elvis Archer, such a beautiful thing in beta. Ooh, and a Winter Blast. He had that in. No no Hypnotic Spectres here to play it on though. Yeah, that's game. I think this Spirit Link really saved Deadguy Ale. I think they're discussing sideboard options here. I think Deadguy Ale anticipated that green would take his crumbles out, so he took his Sushis in. And perhaps green knew that he would take Sushis in, so just kept the crumbles. I don't know. I mean, the crumbles are good against factories as well. Here's what he took out. All his Unwell Dreams, a Disenchant, 2 Jusumjins and 2 Hypnotic Spectres and a Time Twister was taken out of Deadguy Ale. I don't know what he took in, likely 4 Sushis maybe, but there's room for, oh, and the Spirit Links of course. Oh, and we see the sideboard options of green here. I like when players do this, it's always fun. 4 Whirling Dervish makes perfect sense, and the 2 Winter Blast. Yeah, perfect sense in this matchup. Likely took that in against me as well. Oh, and the other guy took 2 Spirit Links and 2 Maces of Ith. That makes perfect sense also. Oh, but he took his Agonian Pixies out. I think, yeah, I would have loved them in there. Also against the Sushis, but especially because that 2 in power does a world of difference when you play with Berserks and Giant Growths. Though I suppose they are not as good with Pendelhaven, because Pendelhaven can only pump 1/1 creatures. Still, Agonian Pixies are so cool. Really, really a strong green creature, I feel. But, yep. Looks like Deadguy Ale took this one in a convincing manner. I think this is not a good matchup for Monogreen actually when I think about it, especially when you don't have the Hurricanes. I mean, the air power out of black with the Hypnotic Spectres and the Singa Vampires. Winter Blast can't keep up. I suppose the argument for Winter Blast is that when you come at a board state with a bunch of creatures on both sides, you can just tap the other creatures out. Fling the Hypnotic Spectres down with the Winter Blast, but it can also tap larger creatures. They won't die, but they'll tap, and then you can get in for a killing move if you're Monogreen. So they have their place as well, I suppose, but I think the Hurricanes in this particular matchup, they're very, very great. Also because you, yeah, as said, you can use it as burn in the late game. In that game, where the first game where Monogreen had Deadguy Ale down to 6 points of life, and he was at something like 14-15 points himself. I mean, a Hurricane right there would be so awesome for him. But didn't happen in this one. Deadguy Ale took it 2-0. Let's go over just a quick rundown of the 2 different decks here. This is Monogreen Stompy. It is a very thematic deck here, with all the green critters and the bursts of damage. The 3 Maces of Ith main deck makes sense and were usable in this matchup, and 2 main deck City in a Bottle. I won't go into too much detail with it here because I've already went over this deck a few videos ago when I faced it back in video number 136, which were my second match of the Swiss. Here's his sideboard. So that was Jesper's beautiful deck. Let's go over Allan's beautiful deck, Deadguy Ale. I went over this in video number 135. The first match of the Swiss I played. Really odd that these guys met up out of something like 62, 65 players. Pretty damn. It's an odd coincidence. Alan is a member of the Long Island crew that were the hosts of this particular tournament. So, a fierce battle between the forest and the swamps tonight. We'll see what's on the camera for the next random matchup, and then after we've had the 5th game, I'll circle back into Composition A, and we'll follow its last 2 games in the Swiss there. So, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.